Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video we're going to be focusing on breakage, the causes of breakage, things to do to remedy it. If you haven't seen the part 1 of this video where we talked about shedding, please I'd advise you to watch that before you watch this one. So I already defined to you guys the difference between breakage and shedding in my previous video, and I'm just going to quickly go over it for people that haven't seen the first one. Breakage is when your hair strand basically snaps off along the hair length, somewhere along the hair length, usually at a point of weakness, maybe somewhere that is split, or it usually happens at the ends or somewhere like that. Shedding, on the other hand, is when your hair strand falls out from the roots. Normally our hair strands shed about 50 to 150 strands of hair per day, so shedding is normal. When it becomes excessive is when it becomes a problem. So one way to tell if the strands are from breakage or shedding is just by checking the length of the strand. Normally with breakage, the hair strand should be shorter than the length of your hair, because with breakage it's not the entire strand. The breakage is happening along the strand, at a point on the strand, so it's just like a little piece of the strand. But with shedding is the strands are usually longer because it's like the entire length of your hair. The strand is falling out from the root, so it's literally the entire length of the strand. Now with breakage, the causes of breakage are usually more mechanical and chemical factors, usually stuff that we are doing or not doing to our hair, as opposed to shedding where the causes are usually internal. Causes of breakage: number 1, overstyling. This is a very common cause of breakage. This usually affects newer naturals a lot. I experienced it too within my first year or two of being natural. You know that time when you're just going natural and you're trying to experiment with your hair a lot, trying to see what you can do, trying to see what styles you can do. You're always styling your hair, always touching your hair, just trying to figure it out. That is a very common time where people experience breakage from hair in hand syndrome, because you're constantly touching your hair. Overstyling generally weakens your hair strands because it causes a lot of friction on the strands. Your hands are constantly rubbing against your hair. The strands themselves are rubbing against each other and just causing a lot of friction. This results in wear and tear over time, especially for people that have finer hair. So to remedy this, try your best to stick to 1 to 2 hairstyles a month and try and maintain your hair in those styles. This is also why protective styling is very important. As you guys can see, my hair is currently in a protective style. I do twisted styles on my hair a lot, and that is one of the ways that I've been able to really maintain a lot of my hair length. If you leave your hair alone, if you stop touching it too much, it will retain more length. Number 2, we have excess heat. Excess heat weakens your hair strand. I think we all know that by now. In some extreme cases, it can permanently damage the entire structure of your hair strand, and that is what we usually call heat damage. Stay away from heat as much as possible. Personally, I don't use heat on my hair, maybe like once in 3 years, and that's maybe because I have to test out a blow dryer or something. Yeah, that's usually blow drying. I don't straighten my hair. I don't put heat on my hair at all. But if you're someone that likes like flat iron styles and stuff like that, try and use the heat protectant, and just look for things that you can do to keep your hair as healthy as possible when you're using heat, and make sure that you don't put the heat too high. Number 3, we have certain chemicals. Now these chemicals usually weaken your hair on a molecular level. They change the structure of your hair strand. For example, harsh bleaching of your hair, relaxers, chemicals that are too acidic or too alkaline for your hair. Now I'm not saying nobody should bleach their hair ever again, nobody should color their hair again, nobody should relax their hair ever again. At the end of the day, it's just hair. You're gonna do what works for you and do what you're more comfortable with. That is completely fine. But just be very careful when you're doing these things. Make sure that you're also taking care of your hair in the process. Maybe if you need to do more hair treatments, if you need to do more protein treatments, more conditioning treatments as you're doing these things, definitely make sure that you're doing that to counter whatever damage might be caused from the chemicals that you put in your hair. Just be safe when you're doing it. Number 4, aggressive handling of your hair, aggressive brushing, combing, detangling. Those are things that cause strand weakness and subsequent breakage a lot. And you see this a lot, especially in people who aren't really patient when they do their hair. People that are always like rushing to do their hair. You have to take your time to do your hair. You have to take your time to detangle. Make sure that you're using good conditioners with good slip, or conditioners that are thick enough to really coat your strand, so that if you're using a brush, it's not causing a lot of hair tugging, a lot of hair pulling, it's not causing a lot of friction on your hair strand. This is personally why I like to finger detangle. Everything I do when it comes to detangling, I use my hands, I finger detangle. I've been doing this for years, so it's kind of like easy for me to do now. I know people have asked me to do videos on how to finger detangle, but I really do not know how to film the video. That is the only reason why I haven't done it, because I don't know how to film the video in a way that I'll be able to show you guys how to finger detangle. When I finally figure it out, I promise I'll do the video for you guys. But yeah, I just finger detangle my hair, and for me it's less breakage because there's no comb or brush tugging my hair. But I'm not saying everybody needs to start finger detangling now. Like I said before, you do what works for you. For some people, combs and brushes work just fine, and if you're one of those people, please keep on using the combs and the brushes if you're not having any problems with them. But me personally, I just like to finger detangle. Number 5, not enough moisture. Dry hair breaks. Hair that is not moisturized or hydrated properly is going to break. Hydration introduces water into your strands. Moisturizing seals in that water and also provides emollients that are going to soften your hair strand as well. When your strands are hydrated and softened, there is more elasticity in your strand, so it's less prone to breakage or snapping. I have tons of videos on how to effectively hydrate and moisturize your hair that I've done recently, so make sure that you watch those if you're still struggling on how to moisturize and hydrate your hair. I'm gonna leave them down below as well. Number 6, not enough deep conditioning. This ties back into inadequate moisture, since moisturizing deep conditioners help to really moisturize and hydrate our hair on a deeper level. Now, protein deep conditioners on the other hand can be a little bit tricky. Now, if your hair needs protein, not using enough of it is going to make your hair strands very weak and lifeless, and it will lead to a lot of breakage of your strand. But if your hair doesn't really need a lot of protein, if your hair is protein sensitive, if you have very low porosity hair that really cannot handle protein well, and you go and use a lot of protein, it will make your hair very, very rigid and very hard, and that also can lead to breakage. So with protein deep conditioners or protein treatments in general, it's best to use it according to your hair needs. So how do you know when your hair needs protein? Well, again, I have a video that specifically talks about that, and I don't want to go into detail on that in this video, so I don't make this video too long. I'm gonna link that video down below as well, so you can watch it to know if your hair needs protein or not, or when your hair needs protein, how often to use it. Click the ad at the top for the video or check it down below in the description box. Next, we have split ends. If you're experiencing a lot of split ends, chances are you're already doing or not doing one of the things that I mentioned previously, and that is weakening your strand and causing it to split. Now, split ends generally are normal. Don't obsess over them too much. Technically, you really cannot get rid of every single split end that you have, except you shave off all your hair. You're still gonna have a few split ends here and there. It's normal. When split ends become a problem is when they become excessive, when they start to make your hair feel not nice, when it starts to really affect how your styles are coming out. So that is when split ends are becoming a problem, and you need a trim as quickly as possible. Like, the splits can literally travel up the strand and keep splitting and weaken the strand some more and cause it to break off at a certain point. You cannot deep condition, you cannot moisturize, you cannot oil a split end away. You have to cut it off, you have to trim it off. Now, I know there are a lot of companies, there are a lot of brands out there that claim to have products that repair split ends and stuff like that. I actually have a few products that I use that claim to do those things, but to be quite honest with you, a lot of that is really semantics. Those products don't really seal up the split end or reverse the splits. That's not what they do. What they do is that they deposit into those splits, they deposit onto the hair strand into those splits, usually protein molecules or just general conditioner molecules. So they basically fill up those splits in the strand to improve the general condition of the strand, to reinforce the strands, kind of like patchwork. So that is basically what those products do. They're gonna fill up those splits in your strand for some time to prevent it from splitting even more. Those products can only do that patchwork for so long. Eventually you will still have to cut off the splits from your hair to maintain the health of your hair. So yeah, that is what those products do. They just manage the situation. Eventually you still have to deal with it. So last but not least, not using enough lubrication in your hair. This usually comes in the form of oils or leave-in conditioners or even serums. Oils are good lubricants in general. They help to coat your strand and help to reduce the friction on your strand that can weaken your strand. They also help to reduce the friction that can lead to your cuticles being chipped away as your strands rub against each other. In some cases, these oils can also help to reinforce your strand almost in the way that proteins do. They can help to make your strand stronger, reinforce the strand. The key to oils is finding the right oil for your hair. Some people's hair needs more penetrating oils for more reinforcement and strength. Some people's hair needs more coating oils just for lubrication. Some people's hair might need a mixture of both. Some people might like lighter oils as opposed to thicker oils. So yeah, the key to oils is just finding the one that works for you. As for leave-in conditioners, I am a huge fan of leave-in conditioners. The leave-in conditioners that are usually good for lubrication are leave-in conditioners that are more on the creamier, thicker side. Those really light, watery, water-based leave-in conditioners are better for hydration, better for introducing moisture into your hair. I honestly cannot stress the importance of a good leave-in conditioner. So these are my top 2 leave-in conditioners out of the 5 leave-in conditioners that I absolutely love. These are my top 2. It's the Trelux Untie the Knots leave-in conditioner. This one, Trelux Untie the Knots leave-in, and the Chemi Biologics Moringa Tree Conditioning Ghee. This one. If you watched my video on how to effectively hydrate low porosity hair and the ingredients to look for in a good leave-in conditioner, every single thing I talked about, you will find them in these 2. I love these 2 leave-in conditioners so much. I honestly cannot even over express to you guys how much I love these 2 leave-ins. If anybody that wants to get them, I'm going to leave links down below for where you can get them. Okay, so we've talked about common causes of breakage and remedies in this video. In the part 1, we talked about common causes of shedding and remedies. So if you've watched the 2 videos, congratulations. I hope the 2 videos have been very helpful for people that are battling either breakage or shedding. But yeah, that is all for this topic of breakage versus shedding. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. You can subscribe to my channel by clicking the subscribe button down below on my face on this side. Also, do not forget to watch my other natural hair videos on this side. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.